Table card gaming is going off globally. The co-founder of one Kiwi company takes us inside its super profitable fantasy world.
People thought that I was crazy. This very much is a David versus Goliath story, and we're taking it to the big guys and winning. The addressable market is $1 billion just in North America alone for paper, tangible trading card games.
So you're chasing unicorn status.
Oh, hell yeah!
It's Monday the 5th of February and you're watching Markets with Madison. Flesh and Blood is one of the fastest growing table card games in the world. The business behind it, Legend Story Studios, is based just down the road here in Auckland. I typically talk about listed companies on here, but this is an emerging industry you need to take notice of. It's aiming to be New Zealand's next unicorn. This is the story of Flesh and Blood's booming business. No cameras have been allowed beyond this door before. Legend Story Studios is taking us inside its imaginative operation. It only moved into this purpose-built office a few weeks ago. Artwork is yet to be unwrapped, but its game designers and product developers are hard at work. Work that's incredibly secretive, only showing us cards they've already released, taking no chances against leaking new products to their thousands of players worldwide. What we did see was a lot of spare space, a sign of how fast this company is growing. Flesh and Blood claims to be one of the most popular table card games worldwide, behind Yu-Gi-Oh!, Pokemon, and Hasbro's Magic the Gathering, which is officially a $1 billion brand for the toy giant. Legend Story Studios co-founder and CEO James White was a pro Magic player and used his experience with the game to build his own. He and his co-founder Robbie Wen spent 7 years developing Flesh and Blood before launching it in 2019. It's now sold in 50 countries at more than 4,000 local game stores. James says it's more than a card game though. It works with artists, distributes products globally, and has built its own AI software that all players must sign up to, so it can see where popularity is growing around the world. In 2022, it was named New Zealand's fastest growing company on Deloitte's Fast 50 Index, with revenue growth of 6,416% over 3 years. James is targeting $1 billion in annual revenue. In this interview, he reveals more about the business behind the cards than he ever has before. James White, amazing to be with you. Thanks so much for coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you, Madison. Great to be on the show.
I want to start with Flesh and Blood's place sort of in the tabletop gaming world. You're going up against Magic the Gathering. It is a $1 billion brand to Hasbro. Yep. Pretty ballsy to go and chase something like Magic. What made you think initially that there was space for another game, let alone to be created from New Zealand?
Yeah, so I've been in this industry for 25 years, and I played the game and I saw the world in my younger years, and I could see that the industry was shifting away from that culture. Companies like Hasbro were taking Magic to be a very digital game, very isolationist, playing it via your screen. And to me, the true beauty of trading card games is actually that person-to-person interaction. It very much is like playing the game and seeing the world, traveling to these big events and meeting friends, whether on a domestic level or traveling internationally for the marquee event. So it's very much a culture, that in-person culture, and it's why we call the game Flesh and Blood, because it's about preserving that culture of the in-person interactions, the friendships, the adventures, and yeah, that was the opportunity that I saw, and we've really honed in on that.
You saw that opportunity, but I imagine there were some doubters because this industry didn't exist, let alone did New Zealand have a place in it, in the world. So without you, full credit, this wouldn't have happened. Who doubted you?
Everybody, except my co-founders, to be honest, and my wife. Could never have done it without the support of my incredible wife. But yeah, people thought that I was crazy. It was really challenging to raise capital in pre-launch. We ended up having to go out to a personal share offer to friends and family, and raise the funds to get that first print run done and take the game to market. But yeah, look, it is tough. We are, like you say, up against the juggernauts. This very much is a David versus Goliath story, and we're taking it to the big guys and winning.
What made you think that you could do it and that we could do it from New Zealand?
I just believe that we had a better game to be frank. And if you look at feedback from fans around the world, they believe it too. The Flesh and Blood really does reward people spending time to master it. It's a very simple game to play on a surface level, really easy to start playing, but there's so much depth to it, so much available there in terms of mastery of the game. So look, I believe that we had a better game. I thought that we had a better vision for what the culture of the community that we wanted to create was. And I came from 25 years in the industry, and I really believed in the business model that we had, that we had developed in all of our internal systems and processes. We developed Flesh and Blood over 7 years, from 2012 and through to when it launched in 2019. But that 7-year journey wasn't just about developing the game. It was about developing the broader IP, so the world, the characters, and the story arc, but also developing the business model and the systems that would power it to be able to scale up into the global, phenomenon that it's become.
Yeah, we were talking about this just before we started rolling the cameras. You said that you don't make games, you actually create and sell them. Talk me through your business acumen and where that comes from.
Yeah, so prior to Legend Story Studios, I ran a national distribution company called Hobbyco in New Zealand for 10 years. And so that really taught me how to engage with the B2B aspect of the business, run international supply chains. We would import products from all across the world, from all the different publishers of these tabletop games, and basically supply the entire New Zealand market. Taught me how to run these sort of B2B marketing campaigns, and also their end user marketing to get people into the store buying and engaging with these products. It also taught me how to build out these integrated inventory management system, warehousing, and finance models to make it as automated as possible. And we very much use this domestic level business to learn all of these things that we could then take and plug into Legend Story Studios and scale it out into a global presence very, very quickly. So as an example, we have a warehouse in Chicago, Amsterdam, Taipei, Tokyo, and Auckland, to service the four corners of the world. And a lot of our supply chain is automated, and how it integrates into our finance systems as well.
I mean, look around. It's clearly a success, so congratulations to you.
Thank you.
And to those people that doubted you, I'm sure they'll be watching this, wishing that they got in on that initial share offer. Yep. I'd love you to talk us through what demand and the rate of growth is like now, if there's any figures that you can give us.
Yeah, sure. So in 2023, our active player numbers grew by 30% across the world. So that's people actually going into stores or going to our events to play the game officially. Keep in mind that not everyone wants to play officially. Like, if you're playing officially, it means you're pretty engaged and pretty serious about the competitive play circuit. It's actually only a small percentage of the players who really strive to become a pro tour champion or a national champion. Most people are actually just playing at home on the kitchen table for fun, in a social capacity. So those active tournament players grew by 30% last year, and so did our store base across the world. So we're currently sold in 50 countries, and there's a smidgen over 4,000 stockists selling Flesh and Blood and running regular events in their stores on our behalf here.
Top line revenue, you took out a record figure in the Deloitte Fast 50 with more than 6,000% revenue growth.
Yeah.
You need to hit a threshold of 1 million to get in.
That's
so
right.
You at least have made 64 million in revenue.
Yes.
I'm sure you've made a lot more than that. If Magic's making $1 billion, where are you on that path? Yeah,
so we're sort of like bouncing around in that 50 to 75 million at the moment, but we have a clear pathway to how we get to that 9-figure annual turnover. And look, we've got a lot of growth opportunities on the table. One of our key initiatives for 2024 is launching in Japan. So we have the localized version of Flesh and Blood releasing in May. Japan's the second biggest market in the world for trading card games after the US. So we've been taking our time to make sure that we have the capability internally to be able to really give ourselves the best chance of success in the Japanese market. And we're very confident about having a big launch, successful launch in Japan this year. There's still a lot of market penetration left to unlock in the other major markets in US and in Europe as well. So lots of growth left on the runway. And one of the things that gives me immense confidence is just the team that we built at Legend Story Studios. Since we won the Deloitte's Fast 50, it really acted as a magnet to attract in exceptional talent to the studio. So we've built out our senior leadership team over the last sort of 12 months or so. We're starting to bring in some exceptional talent from overseas as well. And that's really putting us in a great position for that next growth phase. And also the new studio that we've just opened a couple of weeks ago, which is purpose built for all of the needs of what Legend Story Studios is now, and also future proofing for that next growth phase of welcoming more people to the team and taking on new markets and new growth challenges.
So you're chasing unicorn status.
Oh, hell yeah!
What year do you reckon you could hit it?
Yeah, just look, we want to be mindful about how we grow from here, right? I think for us, we have always been very disciplined about not overextending. We want to make sure that we're really focused on our core competency and just taking things at a sensible pace. So I don't know, I can't give you a date, but what I will say is that we're really focused and disciplined at just taking things in sensible steps along the way, so that we're doing the absolutely very best that we can for our fans and for our retailers and for the markets that we've committed to.
$1 billion company would be nice to have on the NZX. Have you ever considered listing, going public?
I don't think that we want to IPO, or certainly not anytime soon. There is a number of really key growth initiatives that we are yet to fully engage with, and we're all just so passionate about what we do that, we want to just keep driving this hard, keep taking it forward, but we'll see what happens in the future. But at the moment, we're just really passionate about what we're doing, to be honest.
Have you had to take on any debt to fulfill your growth initiatives?
Everything is funded through retained earnings, and we have a 3-year track record of issuing very sizable dividends to our shareholders, so everyone is doing well from their investment.
That's amazing. Yeah. And one thing I also wanted to talk to you about was profit margins, because at the end of the day you are selling paper, right? So the profit margin on that must be pretty huge. Can you give me any color on that?
That's something that that's a card that we hold close to our chest, I gotta say. But look, it's we're an IP-rich company, so it's a great business to be in. Yeah. Look, we give away $1.5 million in our pro circuit, so that's sort of like an example of the kind of marketing spend that we're able to deploy through having a high margin business.
Now, James, I may have butchered in the introduction to this interview the aim of the game of Flesh and Blood. So, in your words, do you mind telling me what it is?
Sure, so it's a hero-centric fantasy trading card game. You play the game as your hero of choice. The first thing you do is you reveal who you are, and then depending on who you're playing against, you choose your equipment set and your weapon. So you have like an inventory of all these different like head pieces, chest, arms, legs, different weapons, and depending on what kind of hero you're playing against, because it might be a wizard who's throwing like magical attacks at you, or it might be like a warrior who's swinging their sword with big melee attacks, or a brute who's like massively reckless and just trying to clobber you. So depending on what hero you're playing against will determine what kind of like equipment you want to start the game with. Something very different about Flesh and Blood to every other game that exists is that you actually start the game at your maximum strength. So from turn 1 of the game, you're throwing your biggest haymakers. You actually wear down over the course of the game, and typically you're trying to like finish the game off with like what I call the dregs left in your deck. It's like, trying to get that last killer blow across the line, which makes it a very different kind of game experience than any other TCG that's ever existed.
Now, we've seen today that you have this whole room of game developers. We weren't even allowed in.
Yeah.
What they're doing is super secretive. I'm told they're not even allowed to go home and tell their families about what they worked on during the day. How ruthless and critical is game design and the gameplay actually being right before you release something?
Oh, it's absolutely critical. As I say, we have a very innovative game system. It is patent pending. And look, these guys are working on products that are coming out in 2025. The element of surprise is huge in our industry. We're always trying to surprise and delight the fans. And look, we spent 7 years in that pre-launch development phase to make sure that there was like a ton of gas in the tank, so we could beautifully, elegantly evolve the game system over time. It's Flesh and Blood is unlike anything that's ever come out in our industry before. And we have a lot of surprises left to reveal to our fans across the world in the coming years.
The hype is insane, right? But what I also find pretty incredible is the community that's created around the game as well. I mean, my research hunting on Reddit, there's even Flesh and Blood players that are offering whole decks of cards to newcomers to the game to try and get them into it, right? They're all becoming mates online, which
Absolutely.
is awesome. How intentional have you been in your decisions and in the way that Flesh and Blood is played or not played to allow that community to foster?
Sure. So our mission statement is to bring people together in the flesh and blood through the common language of playing great games. It's all about the people. It's about the people coming together, and we always talk to this point. Everything that we do, all the decisions orbit around that mission statement, and our fan base understand what we stand for, and that is really critical. We put a lot of resources into showcasing all of the different ways that people contribute to our community. So on our website, fabtcg.com, Monday to Friday, we're putting out new content, and that content very much is showcasing the people. And it's not necessarily, well, most often it's not actually the best players that we're showcasing. It's judges, it's cosplayers, it's community leaders, it's people running cool events. You know, there's so many different ways that people contribute to the community to make it a special place, a very welcoming, a very diverse place. A ton of women are playing our game, a ton of gender fluid people are playing our game. It's very welcoming to all kinds of people from all different backgrounds, races, religions, and that's fundamental to our mission statement as well. Also for us, we see the local game stores, which are the retailers around the world, the bricks and mortar retailers. Typically they're about 50% traditional retail, and 50% of the store will be tables and chairs where people can go and play the games that they sell.
Out the back, right? They have rooms.
Absolutely, yeah. And for us, these what we call local game stores, they function as like community hubs where people, the common interest is playing the game, that is the common language, but they serve as these community centers where people can come together and make new friendships outside of work. I often talk about the third place. Like, people need a third place. If you have home, you have work, and then typically people have a third place. For some it's the gym, for some it's church, for some it might be the pub or the sports club or whatever. For gamers, for tangible tabletop gamers, it's your local game store. And for us, part of our mission is making sure that those local game stores are supported, that they're respected, and that they're valued. And again, it comes back to that opportunity I talked to at the start of the interview, where these other publishers were moving the fans to the online platforms. And for us, we are all about that in-person experience, and it typically is happening in the local game stores. So we're very supportive and respectful and appreciate all these local game stores that are these community, hubs where the fans are coming together.
We've spoken a lot about the business acumen of this company, and these other games are going online probably because they foresee it as being more profitable.
Absolutely, yeah.
But is it? And if it is, why are you not doing it?
Yeah, I mean, you get to capture the entire, margin, the value chain when it's online, right? There is no middleman in that, the delivery of the digital product to the fan. It goes from publisher to consumer. So yeah, like there is a strong business case for why you would do that. And when you're a big, S&P 500 company, you're looking at the numbers and the margin. It's like, yeah, we should be over there. For us, again, like this, it's a tremendous opportunity. Like the addressable market is $1 billion just in North America alone for paper, tangible trading card games. On a global scale, it's about 4.5 billion US per annum in revenue opportunity. So it's a very good sized niche. And look, we are very much focused on that in-person play experience. That is the culture that I grew up with, during my younger years and early 20s. I played the game and I saw the world. It opened my eyes and it opened my mind to just the beauty and the opportunity that the world has to offer. And I made a ton of friends and I had a great time along the way. And I really, myself and my co-founders and pretty much everyone at Legends Story Studios believes in that culture and in that mission. So that's why we do it the way that we do. It's not to say that digital doesn't have a place. It does have an important place for things such as onboarding, learning how to play the game. Like we have an interactive online tutorial to learn how to play Flesh and Blood, and it's really important that we lean into those sorts of tools in the digital space. But as far as the actual product experience goes, it's all about in person.
Now the physical cards as well, they're not just a game to play, they're also art. Yeah. And if the tabletop gaming industry is this size, then the collectible side of it is what? 10 or however many times larger. How do you think of collectibles as a portion of your business, and is there anything you're actively doing to try to play in that space?
Absolutely. The collectability is a huge part of trading card games in general. There's people like trading card games in Flesh and Blood in many different ways. Some people, it's all about chasing the ambition of becoming a world champion and being, highly competitive. For some people, it's about playing socially. For some people, it's just about collecting. They don't even play the game at all. They just, like you say, they love the art. They love the scarcity. The thrill of the chase of getting, those really, really hard to get cards. So we definitely, design the product to appeal to the collectors as well. And some of our cards are, they're worth tens of thousands of dollars. And in fact, we were just down in Queenstown last weekend having an exhibition event to showcase the new product releasing on the 2nd of February, Heavy Hitters. And one of the cards that was won at that event, this brand new gold foil version of Balance Adjuster sold for $10,000 US. The gentleman who won that just snap bought by one of the US collectors that was there. So that gives you an example of the collectability. But there's other things like this beautiful statue sitting behind me here.
She's your favourite, right?
This is my favourite hero, Prism, sculptor of Arclight. This is a collaboration with another great New Zealand creative company, Weta Workshop. Pretty much everyone at Legend Story Studios has been a massive fan and admirer of Sir Richard Taylor and the team at Weta Workshop for many, many years. And we were honoured to work with them to bring Prism to life in a different way outside of the card. And this is something that has just finished up with those guys. And we made 100 of them. So super, super scarce, super premium. 2 years in the making for this one.
And how much did it retail value for, and how much are they worth for resale?
Yeah, so this one here, the mostly to give away at our premium events, but there will be a very small number of them available for sale at $10,000.
New Zealand?
Yeah, 10,000.
And how much could someone resell it for? That's limitless, right?
It's limitless, yeah. This is a one and done thing, so there will never be another Prism Sculptor of Arclight statue again. So if you want it, 10K, boom, done.
It has been amazing to chat to you, James. Thank you so much for having us in, and thanks so much for
Madison.
sharing your insight on this pretty incredible industry.
Thank you very much, appreciate it.
I want to make it clear that I approached Legend Story Studios to do this episode with me. They were not seeking to share their success this publicly. But you told me that you wanted more entrepreneurs on the show this year, so you can expect a few more episodes like this one. Now go put your money to work. Thanks for watching Markets with Madison, the New Zealand Herald show for interested investors. If you want to stay up to date with financial markets, click the subscribe button below, and you can watch our other episodes here. Stay up to date with all the business news and numbers as they land on nzherald.co.nz.